Pop Save the USA.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Pop Save the USA. Cole here, of course. So, this is going to be our first episode in what I am dubbing the Mixtape series. And the Mixtape series is going to be more off the cuff episodes that are a bit shorter, a little less research based, but I'm still here to talk about music and music related things. Just a little bit more silly. I've got a lot of things on my mind, so doing something that's a little shorter allows me to meander through all of my creative thoughts without losing too much focus. I'm giving myself some time to think about all the things I want to think about to some extent. And don't worry, the mainline Pop Save the USA episode is coming, but for now, I just want to get something a little more bite-sized out there. It's important for me, and I think anybody would appreciate a little more something from me once in a while. I would like to mention that I am recording this mixtape episode in a different location than I recorded the first Pop Save the USA episode. So things might sound a little different than the first episode. If it bothers you, very sorry. Nothing I can do about it except hope you like this still. And it's not like I didn't like the first location I recorded in. I just have to book it further in advance, and sometimes I just want to get these out of my computer as fast as I can so that there is something for me to post. I'll probably go back and forth recording between the two as long as I don't have a set schedule of recording, because I'm doing these when I can at the moment. But in the future, I'd like something a little more stable. It's just my house is in a location that really isn't conducive to being a quiet space. There's just a lot of noise happening, and I live near a busy street. So recording in these more off-site locations is really helpful when it comes to getting quieter audio. So just know that I'm working on these things constantly and trying to figure out something new. But in the future, something more constant would be super nice and is a goal I have. So, what happened this week? Thinking about what's happened lately. It got above 60 degrees this week, which, fabulous. That really did a lot for my mental health. Even if it was just 2 days here where I live, getting above 60 degrees in the middle of February is a godsend for a person with cabin fever. I made a nice meal for myself that day, sat outside a little bit. It was quite lovely. I've also booked some trips for the spring and summer that I'm excited about. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have already seen that I've said where I'm going, but I'm doing a little East Coast adventure along with a little Chicago moment. So I'm really hyped for that. I've never really been to any of the cities I'm going to. And I'm thinking of potentially moving to one of these cities. This trip is more of a assessing the vibes kind of moment more than anything. And it's not like I don't like my current city. I just feel the need to spread my wings a little bit, see something new while I'm still in my 20s. I say that as if you can't move anywhere else when you're older, but it's nice to explore somewhere while you're young. I'm going to be doing a lot of baking this weekend, which is pretty exciting. I've already started technically. I made a Greek orange phyllo cake, which, excuse my pronunciation, but I think it's called portokalopida. I did this because at work, one of our suppliers gives us these very beautiful sumo oranges every year when they're in season. And there's a ton of them, so I thought, let's make a cake. So I'm going to make that one, and I'm going to make a more basic orange cake that's made in the blender, where you put a whole orange in the blender and blend it with most of your ingredients that are wet. And then add in your flour, mix it in, make it nice and fluffy. I'm excited for that as well. It'll taste great. I've also been seeing some friends that I haven't seen in a while, so I'm looking forward to that. Going to a little party this evening, so that'll be nice. Um, oh, and I also found out they are building a kava near me, which, say what you will, I understand it's expensive for what it is, but I kind of don't give a fuck. I love a slop bowl, and sometimes I just need a slop bowl to comfort me. Plus, it's Mediterranean flavors, and there's not a lot of Mediterranean food near where I live, so it'll be nice to have something a little closer and have it be another option for me. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't gonna get a kava bowl as soon as that store opens. So, speaking of slop bowls, let's start talking about America's favorite slop bowl, the Super Bowl, specifically the halftime show, of course. Because that's what everyone is actually at the Super Bowl for. Let's be real. Now, since this isn't a giant episode, I'm not going to go deep into the history of the Super Bowl halftime show, but this is a light history that I found while browsing the internet. Most people think halftime shows have always been giant pop concerts, but that really didn't start until the 1990s. The early years, from like 67 to 89, were basically marching bands, drill teams, and like college style performances. Like something you would see at most colleges. Think up with people singing feel good medleys instead of huge stars. The big shift happened in 1991 when New Kids on the Block performed, but the real game changer was Michael Jackson in 1993. His performance was so huge it flipped halftime from bathroom break to must-watch TV. After that, the NFL went all in on superstar bookings. Prince, U2, Beyonce, Shakira, Katy Perry, J-Lo, etc., etc., etc. So some fun notes about the halftime show is that the NFL used to pay artists nothing. In fact, for years, they actually expected performers to cover their own production costs. And from what I understand, this still rings fairly true. We'll touch back on that in a moment. So, the infamous 2004 Janet Jackson-Justin Timberlake wardrobe malfunction led to a decade of safe classic rock acts like the Rolling Stones, Tom Petty, and The Who. Recent years have seen a balance. We got big pop acts with cultural impact like Rihanna, Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, and The Weeknd. And halftime shows now regularly pull 100 plus million viewers, sometimes even more than the game itself. It's basically the biggest live concert stage in the world. To go back to our point about paying the artists nothing, an interesting fact is that Jay-Z actually currently has the ultimate say in the halftime performer each year. In 2019, the NFL and Jay-Z's entertainment company Rock Nation announced a long-term partnership that made the company the league's live music entertainment strategist. That partnership plays a significant role in the planning and production of the Super Bowl halftime show. So, my thoughts are I'm not sure if the NFL is necessarily directly paying artists to perform for them, but there could be a chance that Rock Nation is giving artists some money. But I still think that performances are mainly funded by the artists and their record label. And because of this reason, a lot of major artists turn down doing the halftime show, which makes sense. It's a lot of money. But that's also why some halftime shows appear to be a little less funded than others. Like when you compare them in your head, you can kind of tell that like Lady Gaga's halftime show had a lot of money put into it. Same with Katy Perry's. But then when I think about Usher's, obviously it was expensive, but I don't think it was anywhere near the level that those other two artists had theirs funded at. So, to talk a little bit about Super Bowl 60's halftime show, Puerto Rican singer Bad Bunny performed the halftime show this year, accompanied by Lady Gaga and Ricky Martin as guests. And, wow, what a beautiful, inspiring show that was. I really don't have any notes at the end of the day. It was fantastic to watch. I won't be explaining the entire performance, as I'm sure many of you have watched it, but my mini review is that not only was it a show that was dazzling and performed amazingly, it was also a call for resilience and hope. At a time when the Latin American population of the US is being persecuted and tormented by our administration at totalitarian levels by the hands of ICE, this show is hugely important for every eye in this country to see. I'd like to include this excerpt from AP News' review of the performance. Like most headliners, Bad Bunny kept details of his halftime performance under wraps ahead of time, though many theorized there would be some kind of political performance. He's been critical of President Donald Trump in the past, and at the Grammys the Sunday before the performance, said "Ice out" while accepting a televised award. Bad Bunny's latest tour skipped the continental US. In an interview, he said it was at least partially inspired by concerns that his fans could be targeted by immigration agents. At a press conference on the Thursday before the performance, Bad Bunny told Apple Music's Zane Lowe and Ebro Darden viewers could expect a huge party, and joked that while viewers didn't need to learn Spanish to enjoy his set, they should learn to dance. And of course, he delivered on just that, with a message of hope and a reminder of Puerto Rico's resiliency. And I think that's a really good way to put it. I think some artists fail to realize how many eyes that they will have on them while the Super Bowl is happening. And to use that platform for the good of putting eyes on what is happening in our country right now, I think that's really commendable and needs to be happening more. So that is how I'd like to end my little Super Bowl 60 segment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now we're going to do some dreaming. Today we're going to do some scheming. Today we're going to do some planning. There are many artists who haven't done the Super Bowl halftime show who should. In fact, there are lots who have been offered the opportunity who haven't yet. To name some, we've got Adele. She kind of said that it's just not her thing, which, understandable. Jay-Z's been offered to do the show, but I think he turned it down because he was asked to perform with Kanye, and this was in 2020. And listen, Jay-Z's not the greatest guy, but I think it's respectable that he at least has the chutzpah to know not to perform with Kanye West right now. Dolly Parton's been offered, but she said that the show's just too big for her and it's never been the right time. Outkast has been offered, but they didn't want to cut their song short, which I understand. They have said that they do want to do the show. Pink has been offered, but she didn't want to be scrutinized. Understandable. There can be a lot of negative comments that come from doing the Super Bowl. Cardi B's been given an offer, but she feels like it has not been the right time for her either, which is respectful. I think I understand where she's coming from because her discography isn't humongous. Like, she doesn't have a lot to pull from. She has hits. She is not a one-hit wonder, but I think I can definitely sense where she's coming from. And lastly, Taylor Swift has been offered, but she turned it down in 2023. The conversation about that seems to be a little back and forth. She'd like to do it, but she seems to be locked in on other things, and she stated that Travis Kelce and her relationship isn't necessarily holding her back from doing it, but it is partially why she's been avoiding it. I can see her doing it soon in the future, though. Like, it would easily be one of the biggest, if not the biggest Super Bowl of all time from a viewership standpoint. Like, the numbers that would pull in for advertising would be insane, and I can't imagine how much money the network could make from that. Plus, I imagine Taylor Swift would find a way to get a cut from it as well. So, who do I want to do the Super Bowl? Easy. I am canvassing for Miley Cyrus to do the next Super Bowl halftime show.
The journey is
I
usually the
think
part that you
this
remember
next one would be
anyways.
especially amazing for her because it would be kind of lining up with the 20th anniversary of Hannah Montana, the show that propelled her to her stardom, of course. The next Super Bowl wouldn't be until 2027, but it would still be within the year of Hannah Montana turning 20. It would be a bit far off, but what a good reason to have it, right? Plus, her discography is maturing fabulously, and everyone has a song of hers that they know to some extent. She's also coming off of the Something Beautiful era, and I think this would be a wonderful way to wrap it up, or possibly even start a new era. She also holds relationships with many other artists that she could rope into joining her for the show. Many, many, many possibilities. So, here is how I'm currently envisioning the show. We hear the words echo. And we can't stop. And then a pause. And we won't stop. Echoes. The lights spotlight on her, and she starts running. As she's running, she's singing, I came in like a wrecking ball. And then she jumps onto a wrecking ball attached to a giant crane. Are y'all seeing the vision? The crane then starts to lower her to a stage as a mashup of We Can't Stop and Wrecking Ball plays. I can hear it now. When she reaches the ground, she starts to belt the lyrics. It's our party, we can do what we want to. It's our house, we can love who we want to. It's our song, we can sing if we want to. It's my mouth, I can say what I want to. Then boom, stage black. Can't see Miley at all. Suddenly, all the lights come on, and you see a blonde wig with bangs. The stage has been revealed to be a giant star, and in the back it says Hannah Montana, of course. Because of course it does. She immediately starts singing The Best of Both Worlds. This is the only Hannah Montana song she sings, but she gives it a good amount of time, because it's important. Hannah Montana is Miley Cyrus, of course. Then, as we move more into the performance, the limo comes around to pick her up. The limo round front. The limo round front. Ooh, ah, ooh. She gets in, and it moves her to a more classy stage. The dancers are doing some dancing. They're doing their thing. It parks. She gets out. Wig off. Back to her brunette self. She is now wearing the Bob Mackie look that she was famous for at the Grammys and starts singing Flowers, like that performance at the Grammys. It's probably her biggest song. It is her biggest song in most recent history, so she has to perform it. And then at the same time, once she's starting to wrap up her Flowers bit, we see the limo door open again. Who walks out? No other than Dolly Parton herself. They do a duet of Jolene. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be groundbreaking? Then, as they wrap up that bit, who comes out next from the limo? Beyonce. Beyonce is back for the Super Bowl again, this time as a guest. They start singing Two Most Wanted. They slow it down. They do a trio of Two Most Wanted, Dolly Parton included. Then towards the end of that moment, we hear some electric guitar riffs. We're like, oh, what's happening here? What is next? Oh, we're bringing the energy back up now. A horse comes to pick up Miley. Beyonce and Dolly wave goodbye, and then they get back in the limo. And then the horse takes Miley to an aesthetic mashup of like a rock and roll country stage. We slowly start to see another horse pull up. Who is riding on the back of that horse, you say? None other than Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks is on the back of that horse, of course. They stay on the horses, and then they sing their mashup of Edge of 17 and Midnight Sky. This would be groundbreaking. Imagine Stevie Nicks up there at the Super Bowl. So then after that, Stevie leaves, and Miley puts on a little denim vest. She puts on a little denim vest. How cute, how quaint. Not too much of a costume change, but it's got to change up the vibe, right? We got a hoe down, throw down. She starts singing Hoe Down, Throw Down from the Hannah Montana movie. You thought we were completely done with Hannah Montana? No. We're doing the Hannah Montana movie, but not as Hannah Montana, as Miley Cyrus. Everybody is up. She is guiding them through the Hoe Down, Throw Down dance. Every person and their mom is hoeing it down and throwing it down. The song then abruptly stops, and Miley screams, I put my hands up. Party in the USA begins. We run through Party in the USA, and the crowd is utterly psyched. And this is the song we end on. This is the song we wrap it all up with. I'm not sure how it would end in a performance way, but that is the song we end on. Crowd cheering. This would be one of the biggest shows of all time. And I might be a little biased. I might be a kid of the early 2000s and 2010s who grew up with Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus. But I can guarantee you this show would bring numbers. Maybe not Taylor Swift numbers, but I am in it behind canvassing for Miley Cyrus for Super Bowl 61. Now, I know this proposed show could run a little long, but it can be edited down, of course. I'm willing to be contacted for consultation on this show. Miley, if you're listening, we could do big things together. I know that you're not really big on performing in public at the moment, but think about how big this could be. And we'd be getting Dolly on that stage as well. This is the time for both of you.
The journey is usually the part that you remember anyways.
Hey, editing Cole here. I don't know why the fuck I didn't think of this earlier, but she should obviously open the show with The Climb. Like, that's the obvious choice. I don't know why I have her opening the show with Wrecking Ball and We Can't Stop. Those are great songs. But The Climb, as the opener, that would sell the damn show. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Why did I not think of that earlier? Anyways, back to the end of the episode. Now, this concludes my little Miley Cyrus halftime show and is the end of the first Pop Save the USA mixtape episode. This smaller format was really fun, actually, and I'll absolutely be doing more in the future. If you have any ideas for a Super Bowl halftime show, I'd love to hear them. Please send them my way. If you'd like, I'd love for you to rate the show. And you can also find updates about Pop Save the USA on Instagram at Pop Save the USA. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the next big episode. I'm almost finished writing the script for it, and I will be hopefully recording it next Friday. So, I want to give a lyrical hint at what the next big episode is about. All right, here it goes. And if you can see it from the front, wait till you see it from the back. All right. Bye.
Pop Save the USA.